Welcome, brethren, to part 2 of our Enemies Counterfeit 144,000 teaching. To briefly recap part 1, we showed that just as Satan has influenced counterfeit teaching on the Sabbath, he is now, for many centuries put the Sunday in place of Sabbath, and then he's counterfeited the rainbow covenant that God made to the world, that there would never be another flood of the earth, and he's counterfeited that to the rainbow being a sign of alternative lifestyle, non-biblical alternative lifestyles. So now the message teaches us that Satan will try everything to confuse, becloud, and cover up the truth, especially on the subject of the 144,000. So through inspiration, the Lord has told us to beware that there's going to be a beclouding, a confusion, an alternative teaching on the 144,000. And so we understand that this is a fact. This is what inspiration told us will happen. And that being said, we have to get to the bottom of this issue, find out what is this counterfeit teaching. And so we've done part 1, and you're encouraged to go back and look at part 1 before you look at part 2 to get more of a context. We ask that you kneel and pray, ask for the Spirit of truth to guide you, and then we can get started. Let's get started. All right, so we'll go now to the answer quotes, and there's 5 references that point to only 144 being sealed. And of course, you can pause this and write down each of these references and review them at your leisure, because we don't have the time to go over each reference and show you, but you can be assured that these were researched and found to be supportive of the 144,000 sealed. And we have 1 reference that point to more than 144,000 sealed. And in the description box, we're going to go ahead and put the 3 reports where we address each one of the confusing quotes. For instance, for answer 34 and 35 may be interpreted as more than 144,000. However, as you'll see in our report, those can be explained and harmonized with the vast majority of references that we will show you today. All right, so let's take a look at one of those answer quotes, and that's found in 2 Answer, page 63. In its beginning, the shepherd's rod agreed with the spirit prophecy that the remnant of her seed are the 144,000 against whom the dragon makes war. The Shepherd's Rod, Volume 2, page 265. Today, 10 years later, it teaches that the remnant of her seed are, in this instance, those who are yet in the world when Babylon rides the beast. Revelation 17. The Symbolic Code, December 1941, page 9. When was it right, then or now? So this questionnaire tries to trap the message, tries to trap the prophet, and give this very challenging question. The answer is, if one cannot deny that 144,000, the first fruits, are members of the church, then one cannot deny that they are of her seed. And as they remain alive from the slaying of the unfaithful in their midst, they are therefore the remnant, that which remains. 2 Answer, page 63. So we bring this as one of the evidences that the 144,000 are the only ones that survive the church judgment, because it says that which remains. So that means this is the remaining people that are surviving the church judgment. So very clear here. All right, now we're going to look at the most weightful statement in the rod concerning our subject. And in Entering Wedge, page 99, it says, the facts are facts, whether believed or not. What's the definition of facts? A thing that is known or proved true, Google Dictionary. Something that actually exists, reality, truth, dictionary.com. A thing that is known to be true, Oxford Dictionary. Something that truly exists, Encyclopedia Britannica. So when we understand the word fact, It's a very, very clear, powerful word, and it can't be misconstrued. So let's take a look at this next reference. Notwithstanding the fact that in the closing work for the Seventh-day Adventist denomination, only 144,000 are to be sealed, according to Testimonies, Volume 3, page 266. 3 answer, page 26. Now, we notice that it is not the rod claiming that Spirit of Prophecy said it's a fact. It's the rod claiming that it is a fact. So what do we have here, brethren? You can't get around this. It's saying that this statement, only 144,000 are to be sealed, from where? The Seventh-day denomination, is a what? A fact. So we have to very, very closely stand upon this solid reference as one of the heaviest, if not the heaviest, weight of evidence for our position. When we take into consideration the meaning of each word, which we are now doing, instead of making thoughtless and hasty conclusions, the Scriptures prove not only to be most perfect and wonderful and yet simple, but also inspiring, making wise the humble, and lightening the path of him who did as Christ delights to do the will of God. 2 Symbolic Code, number 2, page 3. This is a teaching that we all should be aware of. There's quite a few more references that we could bring, but the basic key here is that we have to remember each word. And each word cannot be ignored or crossed out. And so if we do that, we're safe in understanding the message. All right, let's go to the Jezreel quotes, and we found 6 there. And again, you can pause this and write them down and research them on your own. There's how many that are interpreted as more than 144,000? 0. Okay, so in Jezreel quotes, we found no references to support anything other than 144,000 sealed from the church. You certainly see that our elders are now doing what the priests in Christ's day were doing, and also what the religious leaders down through the Reformation were doing, and are no less determined to keep this message away from the laity and to thereby deceive even the very elect, the 144,000, the very first fruits of the harvest, those who are to survive the judgment in the house of God. 1 Peter 4:17, the future servants of God. 2 Jezreel, page 7, paragraph 1. Now, do you notice that it does not say part of those who survive? No, it does not say that. It says those who are to survive the judgment in the house of God. Plain and simple, brethren. We can't add or subtract to these words. All right, so let's look at some additional counsel. Hence, as there are no useless words in either of the writings, those who desire to know the truth must mark carefully every word. Otherwise, they will never comprehend the truth, and as a consequence, they will be driven by the winds as the waves of the sea, until the winds cease blowing, probation closes, and they be left to sink down in their sins as do the waves of the sea. 2 Symbolic Code, number 78, page 10. This is another one of those counsels that we have to pay close attention to every word. All right, in Timely Greetings, we found 6 more quotes that say only 144,000 are sealed. And then on the ones that may be interpreted as more than 144,000, we found 3. Now, again, we'll put in the description box the explanation on 1TG number 4, page 27, 1TG number 11, page 11, 2TG number 4, page 15. And you'll find that those can be harmonized when we truly understand the context, when we truly understand what the message tells about those with. To determine the Lord's part, the tithe, the Lord's lambs, goats, or sheep, we were made to pass under the rod. Each tenth then was taken and set aside for the Lord. The statement of Ezekiel 20, verse 37, to pass under the rod, therefore means to separate his very elect from among the multitude, from among the tares, Matthew 13:30, or from among the bad fish, Matthew 13:47-48. And being thus separated, they are counted. So it is that the 144,000, Revelation 7, 3 through 8, 14:1, are a separate and numbered company. 2TG number 1, page 7. Key points, two groups, 144,000 and the tares and bad fish. No others passed under the rod from the church. Very clear. As God called out Israel from Egypt anciently, just so now, God is calling his church out from worldlings and worldliness to be a separate, peculiar people to his honor and glory. This does not mean another movement, but it does mean that God is to deal with the entire body. And those who escape are Israel, the 144,000. Shepherd's Rod, Volume 1, page 107. Key point, does not say, and among those who escape are Israel, 144,000. You see, brethren, when we cancel out these statements, then in effect we are ignoring them, or we're looking at them. If you're one of those with more than 144,000 sealed at Ezekiel 9, logically this reference should have said that. But it should have said, and among those who escape are Israel, 144,000. Did it say that? No, it didn't. And those who escape are Israel. Plain and simple, clear word. And we're going to stand on it. All right, now let's look at the charts. Cunning men under the power of the great deceiver, with good words and fair speeches, have sought to overthrow the faith of the saints in the word of God by almost innumerable interpretations of the scriptures and multiplicity of sects, making it nearly impossible for one to find his way out through the confusion, and thus keeping him in ignorance of the truth. God, knowing beforehand of these cunning devices, has prophetically illustrated the truth by his candlestick in his assemblage of parts, symbolically showing that the truth of the Bible is revealed by inspiration only. Written words can be misconstrued, but symbols cannot, thus making it possible for both the learned and unlearned to immediately distinguish the difference between truth and error. 2 Shepherd Rod, page 288. Powerful statement, brethren, that we're going to now look at the charts, and we can't misconstrue these. All right, let's look at the famous Daniel 2 chart. Beyond question, therefore, the 144 guileless servants of God, Revelation 14:5, composing the government of God in its beginning, the stone which smites the image and which subsequently becomes a great mountain that fills the whole earth, are instrumental in eventual overthrow of all earthly governments. 2TG number 46, page 31. So let's keep in mind the simplicity of this symbolic revelation. This, as we know, is the mountain, which indicates the Seventh-day Adventist church. And what do we see? A small section of it cut out, and that is this stone. Now, do you see little bitty, tiny little stones accompanying this stone? Those with? No, you don't. You see one stone, and the rod says it is the composition of the government in the beginning. So we have so many references from the rod supporting that this stone right here represents one number, 144,000. All right, let's look at the holding the four winds chart. Now you see this is Laodicea, and who is coming from Laodicea? It's the first fruits, Revelation 7, 1-4. Now you can go ahead and do a search of the rod, and please show us where any number other than 144,000 is ever counted as the first fruits. You won't find it. So once again, powerful evidence from the symbolic chart showing something we cannot misconstrue. This is the 144,000, the first fruits that come from the SDA church. All right, this is the ceremonial harvest and its significance. All right, so we'll go here and take a look at this. And you'll notice here in the first fruit period, what does it produce? Right here, 144,000, the two wave loaves. Do you see the number inside that? Now, is that number 185,300? Is that number 640,000? No, it's not any other number, but the two wave loaves equal 144,000. So the culmination of this first fruit harvest equals 144,000. All right, let's get to our eyewitness, Sister Bonnie Smith. We're so sad that just recently our dear sister passed away. Here she is. I believe she's about 90 or so with Brother Don Adair. They took a nice picture together. And then here is she on the left side here is a young woman. I don't know where she's at here, but apparently there's a lot of snow. And so we really have good memories of this sister. We were close to her. We talked to her many times on the phone. I didn't have the privilege of actually meeting her in person, but we did have a good phone relationship. And we also had her on our free conference call presentations. She was on, I believe, 2 or 3 times, and she answered the brethren's questions. And we had quite a big crowd, and the brethren were really blessed to listen to her give her testimony of the time on Mount Carmel with Brother Hodoff. Now, we did have a chance to talk to her about the Those With situation. We were in the middle, I believe it's 2014-15, right in there, with our Truth Teller Facebook group. We had a big back and forth with a couple brethren about this issue of Those With. And so it became a big deal on our Facebook group. There was so many posts made and so many people interacting, and it was a big event with the people. And so we wanted to reach out to her because we knew that she knew Brother Hodoff and was very close in that relationship on Mount Carmel. And she told us very clearly, we remember that day, she says, "Oh no, Brother Hodoff never taught the Those With. That teaching came from M.J. Bingham." That is what she told us, brethren. So she knew the history of this false teaching that there will be more than 144,000 sealed at Ezekiel 9. It wasn't from Brother Hodoff, she said. It was started from M.J. Bingham. If you do a little history, you'll find out that that is indeed a true statement, because in the 100% rod-only group, I believe he was proclaiming this Those With to the people. And sadly, even people like Brother Warden apparently was listening hard to M.J. Bingham about this situation. He should have been more grounded, but he was, I don't know if he really accepted it all the way, but he was listening close to this fallacy that M.J. Bingham brought into the message. All right, so now let's look at progression of time statements. And this one is found in 1 Symbolic Code number 1112, page 9. Will those who are now accepting the SDA faith during the sealing time be among the 144,000 or fall in the slaughter of Ezekiel 9? Answer. All that are found of the church, members of the church at the fulfillment of Ezekiel 9 will either receive the seal and be of the 144,000 or else be left without and fall under the slaughter weapons of the 5 men. Only those who sigh and cry for all the abominations in the church will escape from destruction. And that was posted May, June of 1935. And then we have another one that's the same answer. All that are found members of the church up to the fulfillment of Ezekiel 9 will either receive the seal and be part of or with the 144,000, or else be left without the seal and fall under the slaughter weapons of the 5 men. 2 Symbolic Code number 56, page 8. Now we see that, no, this isn't the same answer. This actually starts to be a little different, because he says, or with the 144,000. So all of a sudden, it looks as if from May 1935 to May, June of 1936, Brother Hodoff has done a change. He no longer says that it will be just 144,000, but he leaves open a possibility of some others with them. So did the rod do about face and change its teachings? Well, with the progression of time, we find that that cannot be so, simply because in 1943, we go back to that fact statement. Okay, so we know that May, June 1936 statement must mean something else. It can't be that there's going to be those with from the church. It must mean, as we'll get into the more points of this, that it is those resurrected, the saints from the church, and it could possibly be the outsiders, according to the statement we found in answer. I don't have that statement offhand, but in our report that is brought out. All right, now we're going to look at the escape references. The escape angle is very important, as obviously the saints have to escape the slaying of Ezekiel 9. And those with proclaimers would have to have proof, a thus saith the Lord references, to back up their escaping evidence. They would obviously have to escape as well. But as we search the message, there is only one number mentioned as escaping, 144,000. Here are the 20 references we found. So again, you can pause this and write down each one of these references. You'll see that of the escaped ones, one number is mentioned, 144,000. And again, there's miscellaneous tracts, Shepherd's Rod volumes, and the regular tract references. The Jezreel letters, we found one. That's number 2, page 7, symbolic code. We found 1. Timely greetings, we found 4. Let's look at some inspired counsel. Those who are willing to risk all on the ground of one inspired statement and disregard another in order to carry out certain cherished ideas of their own, we would never try to establish an idea on the basis of agreeing with one passage of Scripture while disagreeing with another, for such a conclusion is as sure to be erroneous as if one should conclude that when the sun sets in the evening, it will never rise in the morning. 2 Symbolic Code, number 1, page 5. So here we bring this counsel because in this presentation, part 1, part 2, you'll remember that we are showing a preponderance of evidence. That's the key. We want to show the preponderance. Where does that stand? And if that's the case, then these others that may seem to be showing those with, they have to be harmonized with the others. Can they do it? Of course not. They can't harmonize any of those with statements with that fact statement, correct? Now, you can harmonize the fact statement with those others when you understand those with others and how the message explains them and who those with are. So this is very important, brethren. It can only be harmonized one way. You cannot, no matter how much you try, bring those 6 or 7, 8, whatever it is, quotes that seem to say more than 144,000 and harmonize that with the fact statement. You can't do that, you see. So you can, with that super weightful evidence, do it the other way. You can harmonize the great amount of references with the very small minority. That's how inspiration will lead us to the truth. All right, so let's look at our summary. In this study, we have done the Lord's counsel. The weight of evidence is the only fair and final criterion worthy of a Christian who must ever make an investigation for himself concerning purported truth. One answer, page 77. After thoroughly investigating the matter, here is the outcome. We found 59 references from all our literature that show only 144,000 marked and sealed from the SDA Church at Ezekiel 9. The disputed references were 7, and they are examined and shown to harmonize with the other 54, or excuse me, it should be 59, when we take them in context of their true meaning. See our link in the description box for the reports. 3 charts confirm our true understanding of this message. In closing, our arch enemy has foisted upon us his counterfeit, but those who study to show themselves approved will know it is indeed a counterfeit. Those who are sealed, marked, and escape the ruin are the ones who constitute the number, which prophecy declares to be 144,000. Shepherd Rod, Volume 1, page 30. So, again, we're going to go ahead and put those links so that you can understand how those 7 harmonize with the 59. And based on the amount of references right here, it's very clear that we have overwhelming weight of evidence supporting only 144,000. But to get a real good, complete picture, we'd like you to go on that report, see the explanations on all 7 of them, and you'll see how they perfectly harmonize. All right, so let's do a final reminder. The message tells us that we are dealing with a life and death matter to all. Shepherd Rod, Track 5. We cannot afford to haphazardly study this subject. Our King told us the following solemn warning. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. Revelation 22:18 and 19. Now, we want to remind everybody that as this final reminder tells us, we cannot take this subject part way. We cannot take it haphazardly. We cannot dare add and subtract to Revelation 7, 1 to 4 words. We can't do that, brother. We want to stay within what God's prophecies tell us. And the message is very clear through the weight of evidence that only 144,000 will be sealed and escape the church judgment at Ezekiel 9. So that concludes this study. We hope you've been blessed, and do your research, and you'll find the truth. The Spirit of truth is guaranteed those who really want His truth, those that are walking in all the light that they have, and searching diligently for the truth, as it were, for hidden treasure. So until next time, may the Lord continue to guide you into all truth. Amen.